Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I decided to read Love, Simon at the weekend because I went into a bookshop with my dad. I just ended up buying so much. I bought all the Harry Potter books again because, well, let's not go into it. I'm still bitter about it. I used to have all the originals from when I was first given them at 9 years old, and then they accidentally got ruined. I had to rebuy all of the Harry Potter books, 1 to 7. It cost me 50 quid, and then I thought, might as well pick this up while I'm spending loads of money. I got myself Love, Simon, and I really want to go see this in theatres because it just looks so interesting. When I first saw the film trailer, I wasn't aware that it was a book first, but I was so happy to figure out that it was. It's actually called Simon versus the Homo Sapiens or something like that. It's something like that, look it up. I got the Love, Simon film copy, which I'm usually quite against, but I don't really care, I just wanted to read it. This is a book about a gay teenager who is, Simon versus the Homo Sapiens agenda. Duh. He is closeted, he has not come out of the closet yet, like I just said. Well done, Rebecca, my brain's not working, by the way. The book basically starts off with this boy called Martin who has logged onto his computer at the library where Simon has stupidly forgotten to sign out, and although he uses the code name, what is it? It's Blue and Jax. Even though he is using the name Jax, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, I think it's French or something. Yeah, it's like French for something Simon. Simon Says or something like that. He leaves it on his email account, so therefore he knows that it was him, and Martin blackmails him basically, but Martin for some reason doesn't seem to be under the impression that it's actually blackmail. Simon is very aware of it, and he's like, unless you get me a date with this girl called Abby, I am going to basically out you and put the emails on the Tumblr, which is a website that they, well, I don't know if it's actually Tumblr or if they're just calling it the Tumblr and it's something else, but basically they just put all of their secret confessions. It's like those confession things you see on Twitter and stuff where people write, Confession 1, I don't really like Spider-Man all that much, or something random like that, and you don't know who it is, it's anonymous. That's definitely realistic because in my school we had a Facebook where we would post things on, but it wasn't like that. It wasn't like anonymous things that we're confessing. It was anonymous, but it was almost like bullying. It was like this school Facebook page where everyone just kind of posted gossip and things like that, and it would get out of hand sometimes, and we'd post like memes about the school and the teachers, and I'm pretty sure someone got in trouble for actually creating the account, and the teachers found out who did it somehow. I don't know how. Tech savvy. It was definitely relatable to me because that happened at our school. I did not partake in this because I was a little boffin. Kind of made me chuckle because we definitely had a thing like that at my school, so it was definitely realistic in that sense. In order for Martin to not out Simon, he decides that he is going to go along with this plan and he's going to try and talk to Abby even though he doesn't want to. And he has this kind of like love-hate relationship with Martin throughout the book. Like 1 minute he's starting to like Martin and the next minute he hates his guts because he's blackmailing him. I do think Martin doesn't really know the full extent or doesn't understand the concept of blackmailing. I think he thinks it's some kind of trade or something because he seems shocked when Simon calls him out at the end of the book and says, you took this from me, when he actually does out him. By the way, I should have said spoiler alert at the start of this, sorry about that. But he basically outs him at the end of the book and Simon confronts him and he seems really shocked that he's like calling it blackmail. You do feel a little bit sorry for Martin, but not too much because it's common decency not to out someone. The whole book is trying to figure out the identity of Blue, who is this boy that Simon is emailing. He's emailing Blue and they kind of start to fall in love with each other's personalities, even though they don't know who the other one is, because they're both closeted gay guys and they both happen to go to the same school, but even though they've met in person, they don't know that they're talking to each other and connecting on this level. And as the book progresses, you see them getting closer and closer, sharing more about their lives, sharing more personal info, and they even start to like flirtily like sext almost, and like there's one bit where I'm pretty sure Simon is like masturbating while he's like talking to him because he gets hard or something, and that shocked me. I was not expecting that. I thought this was definitely going to be like a younger demographic kind of thing. I don't know why I thought that, but I just did. I do think that the film's going to be kind of like a Mean Girls type of vibe, but for gay people, which I think is super cool. I'm so excited to see how they adapt this because honestly, this was a great read. I read it back to front. The whole mystery of trying to figure out who Blue is definitely kept me on edge. I kept thinking that it was really predictable. So I think my first guess was Nick, and I thought basically Nick is Simon's best friend, and my first guess was that Nick was Blue. And I was like, he's totally secretly in love with Simon, because they had like a bonding moment in the car, and there's this bit where Simon's saying, oh, we've known each other since we were kids, he knows me so well, he knows what's wrong without having to say anything, blah blah blah, we connect on another level. And even though this Nick guy is also into Abby and they do get together in the end, sorry, another spoiler, really was convinced that Nick was going to be it, and I was like, oh, and I kind of rolled my eyes and was like, please don't let this be that predictable, because there was such a... it just seemed like it was hinting towards him, and I guess the author did that on purpose to kind of try and mislead you. And I first caught onto the fact that it might be Nick, I was like, please for the love of God, do not let it be Nick, otherwise this is going to be a waste of my time, and why am I reading this, to be honest. I then thought that it might be Martin, because the author leads you in to believe that it's going to be Martin, even though you're like, not possible, because he's so into Abby and it makes no sense that he would blackmail Simon, and someone that is also closeted surely wouldn't out another closeted gay person, because they understand what it's like for no one. For Simon, if you get what I mean, like, he understands what it's like for Simon, so why would he try and blackmail him with the fear, even if he wasn't intending to actually out him? I don't think another gay person would do that. I don't know, maybe they would, but I didn't really get too with that idea, but I did think in my mind, okay, so it could be Martin, but straight away, even in the book, Simon is going over in his head like, how could it be Martin? Is this all just a game? And it just doesn't seem like that would be realistic. Now, later on in the book, I did start to think to myself, okay, so Blue's probably someone that we've only seen once or twice, and that's why you're not going to guess, right? And when Bram first came into it, barely even noticed him, just kind of skimmed past his name. I thought, insignificant character just added in for no reason. The only kind of hint that I got towards Bram, and I wish I'd figured it out, because I should be smarter than this, okay? I wish I could sit here and say I knew it was Bram all along, but I didn't even really pay attention to that character, because he just wasn't made a big deal, and I guess that was done purposely. And I didn't even catch on to his second name being Greenfield, like blue-green, with the email. The first kind of clue was in the email. He makes a comment, something like, why is... Simon says, why is straight the default, or something. It's on the back here. Straight people should have to come out too. The more awkward it is, the better. Why is straight the default? And why? And then Blue replies, aka Bram replies, why is straight the default? And also, why is white the default? And straight away it clicked in my brain. I was like, he's not white. He's not white. Because everyone Simon was thinking was blue was white. And I was like, ow, I just smacked myself in the face. Bam. It's Bram. No, I'm kidding. I wasn't. I was like, bam, he's black. However, I hadn't really paid attention to whether or not they had described Bram as being black. Did they? I don't know. I can't remember, because he was so, like, it was such a quick, oh, here's Bram, he's gone. Like, it was like a paragraph appearance kind of thing. So I can't remember whether Bram was described as black or not, and even if he was, I don't think it would have stuck in my mind, because he was such a quick character that you were introduced to that it didn't really catch my attention, or at least that's the way he was written. If he showed up more in the book, then sorry that I'm wrong, but honestly, Bram didn't really stick out to me enough for me to think of him actually being a possibility of being blue. Doesn't that make sense? I feel like I'm rambling a lot today. I'm very stressed out. Overall, a very, very good read. I could not put it down. I literally sat down and read it in about 5 hours. When I put it on Snapchat that I'd finished reading it, a few people messaged me like, didn't you buy that today? And I was like, yeah. But I was doing nothing on Saturday night anyway, so this was how my Saturday night was spent. It was kind of nice to sit down and read for once. I haven't read for a really long time, and I thought it would be really, really interesting to read this. Whilst I do not myself identify as being gay, this book definitely did touch me a little bit. I didn't cry or anything. I'm not one to cry at books. I'm one to cry at literally anything else in life, but books I don't tend to cry at. I'm not sure why. No matter how realistic it is, I do not cry at books. The closest I've been to crying in a book is Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows when Hedwig died. Unless I'm really, really attached to characters, I'm not going to cry. and Harry Potter. Obviously I've been reading that all throughout my childhood, so it was a years and years of getting attached to the characters, so I think that's why I cried when Hedwig died and when Fred died. I do think that this is going to help LGBT, why do I always struggle to say that? Teenagers or adults even, you know, it's never too late to figure yourself out. You know, I think it's going to help a lot of people, and even if they've already come out and had the experience, I think a lot of people are going to relate to it, and they're going to see themselves represented in media in a way that's never really been done before. I could be wrong, but I don't think that there has ever been such a mainstream film or book for gay people to look at, and just, I don't know, it's just done in such a way that it almost like, the whole gay thing, it doesn't really, it's not like a huge thing, like you're not constantly aware of it. Maybe it's just me and I'm too accepting or whatever, but the whole gay thing, it's not like, I don't know, it didn't seem like a huge thing that was constantly popping out at me. It was just part of the story, and it didn't, I don't know, I don't know how to word it. It just felt like just a normal book. And I think that's what it needed. It felt very, like, I wouldn't say this is anything special per se, which is a good thing, and people might think I'm being harsh by saying that, but I don't think the book was anything special in the way that it was very normalised, which is something that I think the gay community needs. They need a book out there that is very much like a straight book, except the characters are gay. And I think that's the kind of representation they need, because they are people too, obviously, it's 2018. And I don't know, I think people are going to be really touched by the film. I've seen a few people's reactions of the premiere and stuff like that on YouTube, like Kids React or whatever, and they seemed really touched and were crying in the theatre. I've seen a lot of tweets about people coming out in the theatre to their families and stuff, and I think that's great. If this book prompts people to be brave enough to do that, then great. There's still a lot of homophobia in 2018, which I don't personally ever see, but probably still goes on quite a lot, and I think this is a big step for their community and for teenagers and adults to see themselves represented in this way, in such a big way, not just as a side character in like a TV show like The Vampire Diaries, where they have like a side lesbian couple that just, they're not really main characters and they just die off eventually anyway. This is more, you know, it's just more normalised, and the main character is gay, his love interest obviously is gay, it would be weird if he wasn't. It's a great read, and I think, honestly, if you're gay, straight, bisexual, whatever the heck you are, asexual, read this, because it really is an interesting read, and I hope that there are more books like this, and more films, I hope, are made for the LGBT community. Not every straight person is horrible and is going to be like, ugh. You know, not every straight person is going to be homophobic about it, and not every straight person is going to be like, oh, why do we need more gay films if you've got Love Simon, blah blah. Like, I totally get it that you need more representation, and we do have so many straight films in the world, and, you know, I don't know, I'm rambling at this point. Definitely think that you should check this out. Just a great read. I'm really not good at book reviews, am I? It was written very realistically, like the teenagers definitely didn't sound like an adult trying to write a teenager, if that makes sense. Like a lot of authors that are older, you're kind of like, oh god, cringe. There was one part actually where his sister said lol out loud, and he's like, yeah, she's been saying lol out loud, I'm not sure if it's ironically or not. And at first I was a bit like, oh, cringe, is this going to be the author like trying to be trendy and hip? Because no one says lol out loud. But then I went through a phase where I would ironically say things like lol or YOLO. So, I don't know, that was the only bit where it seemed like a little bit unrealistic, but at the same time, not really. I read it in 5 hours, which means it's great. If I read a book front to back, that means it's amazing, because if it's boring, I'm going to put a bookmark in and I'm going to put it down, but I just can't do that with a good book. So Don't know what else to say. I feel like I'm probably going to miss something, and then I'll be watching this back in edit and I'll be like, for God's sake, I didn't say something. If you like this video, you can like, you can comment, and you can subscribe. I make new videos every Thursday and Sunday, or at least I try to. I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep doing that because I've got a lot going on and I'm trying to figure my life out at the moment, but I will try. And yeah, I think I said everything. See me next time. Why did I say it like that? You will see me next time. Is this my new outro? Just being awkward. Wait, that's not new. Okay, I'm gonna go now before I make a fool of myself. Goodbye.